Well, Sabbath greetings to everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful and productive and profitable week. It's amazing that here we are sliding around again to another Sabbath. So I hope you're able to relax and rest on this day and really take in all that God has prepared for you. It's been a good week here in Sussex. I'm trying to get this video up a little bit earlier than sometimes I normally do. It's just the house is a little bit more quiet than usual, so I want to take advantage of that and try to get this video up here a little bit earlier, but you can tell it's far from being Sabbath just yet. But again, I hope your week has been good. It's been good here. It's been sort of a short week in terms of, the kids had 4 days of school this week because of the Labor Day holiday on Monday, but I think they've had a pretty good week of school, and so we're all looking forward to the Sabbath and looking forward to the opportunity to have a very full Sabbath, but we are looking forward to that. We'll be in Joliet for morning services, and then Chicago, and then we're having a bit of an opportunity for extra fellowship after services there in Chicago. So it'll be a full day, and we are again looking very much forward to that. God willing, that's our plans for the Sabbath. But I want to have just a few thoughts here for the Sabbath. Been kind of thinking about what it is that we value, how much value we place on certain things in this life. And even beyond that, thinking about how much God values us. There's just of course there's a lot in the scripture. You have to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and understand just how much He values every single human being. And certainly He has a special purpose for His first fruits, those that He's calling in this life. And so just one idea is found in Luke 12 and verse 22. I like this part of scripture. Luke 12:22, he says, "Then He said to His disciples," Jesus Christ is speaking, "Therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you'll eat, nor about the body, what you will put on." Don't give too much worry about all of those necessities of life, the things that we need to eat and wear. Those things are obvious for all of us. We need those things. And so He's telling His disciples, don't worry about those things. Life is more than food, and the body is more than clothing. There's also a side of that definitely has to do with, don't put too much value on those things. If you talk to individuals who have lost all their belongings, whether it be fire or flood or anything like that, those things can be replaced. It's one of those things where, we want to make sure we're not putting too much value on those physical things, but understanding that God knows that we have need of those things. He says in verse 24, "Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which have neither storehouse nor barn, and God feeds them. Of how much more value are you than the birds?" Think about that. It seems ridiculous. God takes care of His creation, birds and all the animals. He gives them homes and things to eat, and there's a whole circle of life going on there. But, the bottom line is, it's kind of ridiculous to think, well, a bird, a human being, God values us so much more in that sense, but yet He takes care of those other things because He certainly values them and He loves them. But we are on such a different level than the birds or the animals. God places tremendous value on us because He plans on bringing many sons to glory. He's building a family. And so, if you've had a rough week or you ever question whether or not you're of value, whether or not you have any significance, don't question that today on this holy Sabbath day. But you be confident in the fact of knowing that God values you very much and that He shows no partiality, but He loves us equally, and He has a tremendous plan and purpose for us. He wants to provide for us, and each and every one of us. He has tremendous value that He has placed on each and every one of us, and that's important for us to understand in terms of our calling. I had this friend in high school, and we ran around together It wasn't always the best idea in the world, but anyway, this friend was given a gift in high school. It was a very nice car, and it wasn't a brand new car. It was a used car, but it was kind of a sporty car. It was in good shape, low miles, didn't have any scratches or dings or anything. I just remember it was a very nice vehicle, much nicer vehicle than I had, certainly, in high school. But, you know, every chance he got, it just used to irritate me so much. Every chance he got, he would run that car into something. He'd run over, you know, highway, those orange barrels, or he'd run it into something else. And he was just always dinging it, and intentionally. He would do these things intentionally, you know, because this was not something that he valued. It was very nice. There was nothing wrong with it, but he didn't place a lot of value on it. He didn't work for it. He didn't put the energy and the effort forward, you know, in earning it and having, you know, that kind of taking it for granted. It affected whether or not he put the value on that vehicle that was due. You know, I certainly wouldn't have treated it that way, but, you know, at the same time, when you're given something and you're not working after it, you tend to take it for granted. And so, you know, that spiritual principle is there too, to understand, you know, what Christ says in John 15:16. I believe it's John 15:16. That's one of those scriptures that jumps out at me quite a bit in putting things in perspective in life. He says it very clearly. You didn't choose me. I chose you. You know, he's talking to his disciples. You know, we didn't choose him in that sense. He has chosen us now. Not because he loves us more, but he values that opportunity. And we have to value the opportunity he's given us. And he has an opportunity to build his holy, righteous character in us. And he's going to take care of us. He wants to provide for us and give us the things that we need because he values us. And he expects us to value that calling. Not as if we, you know, we've necessarily gone out and earned it. It has been given to us, but it takes a tremendous amount of appreciation and for the understanding that we've been given, that this is something that we didn't just, you know, go out and earn it in that sense. It was something that is it's much more precious than gold or silver that perishes, but he's given us that truth, the wonderful truth and the calling that we have, and he expects us to appreciate that calling, knowing that yes, we had to make a conscious decision to follow him, but understanding that you know, that we have to have a deep appreciation and value that calling and understand how valuable we are to him and how valuable that calling is, and that we didn't choose him, but he chose us. One more place over here is 1 Corinthians. I love this part of Scripture too, because it really talks about how, you know, where we go from that point of our calling, and we don't ever want to forget it, no matter how long we've been in the church, no matter what we've been through. 1 Corinthians 3, and he brings this whole concept into focus here when he talks about, you know, we're God's field, we're fellow workers, and that we're building on the foundation. We all have the same foundation. There is only one true foundation, and that foundation is Christ. But he says here in verse 12, if anyone builds on this foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, see three, you know, very hardy things that can make it through fire. And then there's the other side of that, wood, hay, and straw. When the fire comes, they just burn up. But it comes down to whether or not we understand how important it is and how precious that foundation is, that we look at it in that sense, that we wouldn't dare build on it with something that's just very easily going to be consumed by fire. Because the point is, we are going to face trials and tests and difficulties, fiery trials. But if we're building in the right way, and that comes down to understanding and appreciating and valuing our calling, you know, even though we don't, you know, we are called, we didn't choose him, but he chose us. But we have to understand how precious and valuable that calling is. It's not something that the whole world is being offered. And it's not once saved, always saved. We have to continue to work at it striving to overcome. If we value that calling, we will work hard and cherish it and take care of it and make sure that we maintain it. Unlike my buddy who was just driving into everything and didn't value that vehicle that he had. So if we look at that in the spiritual sense, I hope you can maybe give a little thought to that this Sabbath. Really value your calling. Understand that you are very valuable and that you have that wonderful, wonderful asset of God's calling that's much more precious than gold or anything else, and that He wants us to make it into His kingdom. So we will make it if we value our calling and if we do everything we can to treat it with that kind of appreciation and value it more than anything else. So I love you all. Take care. Have a fantastic Sabbath, and we'll see y'all real soon.